Hello, my name is Dr. Arthur Williams, and I'm a specialist in internal medicine. I turned 85 this year, a milestone that seems to surprise many people, yet it feels to me like just another number on the calendar. I still practice medicine at the university hospital, a place that has been my second home for more decades than I can count. My colleagues, many of whom were once my students, often joke that a man my age should be occupying a hospital bed, not standing beside one, but I find my greatest purpose in the quiet focus of the examination room, where I still see patients 3 times a week. When I'm not in my white coat, I'm in my garden. It's my sanctuary. The feeling of the rich soil under my fingernails, in the warmth of the sun on my back as I tend to my vegetables, it's a kind of therapy. It's where I sweat, where I think, and where I connect with the fundamental cycles of life and growth. Inevitably, whether from patients, colleagues, or friends, the question arises, Arthur, how do you do it? How do you have so much energy at your age? They expect me to reveal a secret, a rare supplement shipped from a remote mountain, a complex exercise regimen, or perhaps a new miracle drug, but the truth is far simpler and is not a secret at all. The key to my vitality, and the vitality I have helped countless patients reclaim, lies in the most basic building block of our bodies, protein. Over my 60 years in medicine, I have witnessed a silent epidemic. I have seen far too many people ignore the first subtle whispers. Their bodies send them the quiet signals of distress that, left unheeded, grow into shouts of crisis. The gradual loss of muscle, the weakened immune system that can't fight off a common cold, the bones that grow brittle and fragile, these are not simply inevitable consequences of aging. They are often the direct result of a body being starved of the one nutrient it needs to rebuild, repair, and remain strong. They are evidence of protein disappearing from the body. Before you reach for a new medication, before you resign yourself to a life of diminishing strength, there is something you must change first. It is your diet. The story I am about to share with you is one that needs to be heard in its entirety to grasp its full power. It is a story of discovery, of rediscovering the profound importance of protein, woven from decades of clinical experience and a deeply personal journey. Perhaps you are listening to this from the comfort of your home, settled into your favorite chair, or maybe my voice is keeping you company on a drive. Wherever you are, I want to tell you about the first time I witnessed the miracle of protein firsthand. It wasn't in a textbook or a clinical trial. It was with my own mother. Her name was Evelyn. She was a woman who had danced through life with a particular grace, always moving, always busy. But one day, that began to change. It started subtly. She'd mentioned that her thighs felt heavy, like they were filled with sand. Then, she started stumbling, catching her foot on a perfectly flat floor. Small trips became more frequent, and soon, they led to falls. As a doctor, you'd think I would have seen the answer immediately. But as a son, my vision was clouded by a common, dangerous assumption: she's just getting older. I told myself, this is what happens. I treated her symptoms with a kind of resigned sadness, believing it was an irreversible decline. But after a particularly bad fall landed her in the hospital for observation, a full workup of tests was ordered. The results came back, and they were baffling. There was no underlying disease, no neurological condition, no hidden illness. She was, by all medical standards, healthy. Yet, there was one critical piece of data that stood out, a number so low it was almost unbelievable. Her blood albumin levels were critically low. There it was, in stark, clinical black and white. A severe and chronic deficiency of one thing, protein. My mother, then in her mid-80s, had seen her appetite diminish over the years. A common occurrence. Her meals had become smaller, simpler, and unknowingly, almost completely devoid of adequate protein. Her body, desperate for the amino acids it needed to function, had begun to cannibalize itself. It was breaking down her own muscle tissue to survive. The weakness, the stumbling, the falls. It wasn't old age. It was starvation. From that day forward, her diet became my prescription. We started small. I made sure every single meal included a dedicated source of protein, half a hard-boiled egg with her toast, a few slices of tofu in her soup. I would cook chicken breast until it was tender, shredding it finely so it was easy for her to eat. At first, she was skeptical. And frankly, a part of me was too, could something so simple truly reverse what seemed so complex? But slowly, week by week, a remarkable transformation began. Within a month, the tremors in her legs had subsided. She was walking around the house on her own, performing small tasks, her movements more confident. After 3 months, the change was astonishing. I watched from my kitchen window as she walked to the local market, carrying her own grocery bag. She wasn't just walking, she had a purpose in her stride again. Seeing my mother regain her strength, her independence, and her spirit solidified a belief that has since become the cornerstone of my medical practice. Protein has the power to help a person stand up again. I realized then that the most powerful recoveries don't always come from dramatic treatments or expensive drugs. They often come from correcting the most fundamental aspects of our daily lives, from giving the body the basic materials it needs to heal itself. Have you ever had that feeling? The sense that your body is no longer the one you used to know, but you can't quite put your finger on why. Have you watched a loved one fade? Or felt a moment of fear about your own future, your own frailty? Today, I want to offer you a thread to follow, a clue to solving that mystery. I hope this story can be a small light in your life, a source of hope, and a call to action. The 5 pillars. Why protein is your body's first line of defense. To truly understand why my mother's recovery was not a fluke, but a predictable biological response, we must look at the 5 critical roles protein plays in maintaining a healthy, vibrant body, especially as we age. Pilar uno, preventing muscle loss sarcopenia. The first, and perhaps most visible, role of protein is in the maintenance of our muscles. As we get older, we all experience a natural decline in muscle mass. This process is called sarcopenia. However, when protein is deficient, this gradual decline becomes a free fall. Think of your muscles as the wooden frame of a house. This frame supports the entire structure, allowing it to stand tall and withstand the elements. Protein is the lumber used to build and repair that frame. If you stop supplying new lumber, the existing frame begins to rot, weaken, and eventually it can no longer support the house. The walls sag, the foundation cracks, and the entire structure becomes unstable. This is what happens in your body. When muscles waste away, walking becomes a chore. Your sense of balance deteriorates, making you dangerously susceptible to falls. A fall for a younger person might result in a bruise. For an older adult with sarcopenia, it can mean a fractured hip, a long hospitalization, and a permanent loss of independence. This isn't just an inconvenience. It's a catastrophic blow to one's quality of life. This creates a vicious cycle. Weakness leads to inactivity. Inactivity leads to further muscle loss. The less you move, the less you are able to move. But your muscles are more than just machinery for movement. They are your body's primary metabolic engine and a crucial storage depot for energy. Sufficient protein intake slows this decline, preserving the muscle you have and ensuring it remains strong and functional. Just as a house cannot stand without a sturdy frame, your body cannot maintain its health without strong muscles. I think of my patient, Mrs. Eleanor Vance. When she first came to see me, she was 76 years old. For years, she had been an avid walker, known throughout her neighborhood for her brisk morning strolls. But over the last few years, a profound weakness has settled into her legs. Climbing the stairs to her bedroom had become a monumental effort. Her world had shrunk to the 4 walls of her home, and a palpable sense of depression had begun to set in. When we talked about her diet, the picture became clear. Her appetite was poor, and her meals consisted mostly of tea, toast, and soup. She rarely ate meat, fish, or eggs. She was suffering from classic sarcopenia, accelerated by severe protein deficiency. My prescription was simple: I asked her to commit to two things every single day: one egg and one glass of soy milk. That's it. Doctor, she asked, her voice laced with skepticism. How can an egg give me my legs back? Let's just try Eleanor. I told her, for 3 months. Let's see what your body can do when you give it the right materials. She agreed. The change wasn't overnight, but it was steady. 3 months later, she walked into my office with a bright smile I hadn't seen before. She told me she was taking her morning walks again, not as fast as before, but she was out there. She could go to the market by herself. The stairs were no longer her enemy. The strength returning to her legs had vanquished her fear of falling. Her bright smile was all the confirmation I needed of protein's power. That one small egg, that simple glass of soy milk, had given her back her world. Practical application: you must aim to include at least one protein-rich item with every meal. Don't save it all for dinner. Your body needs a steady supply. Think of foods like eggs, tofu, fish, chicken, and lean beef. Rotate through them to get a variety of nutrients. Breakfast is particularly crucial. Including protein in your morning meal is especially effective for stimulating muscle protein synthesis. If you have difficulty chewing, don't give up. Explore softer options like steamed egg, custard, chawamushi, silken tofu, flaked fish, or finely minced chicken. Avoid foods that are too tough or chewy, as they can make getting enough protein a frustrating battle. Bilardue, fortifying your immune system. Do you find yourself catching every cold that goes around? Do infections like the flu, pneumonia, or shingles seem to hit you harder and last longer than they used to? This isn't just bad luck. As we age, our immune systems naturally become less robust, the core material required to build this internal army, however, is protein. Your immune system is a complex network of cells, tissues, and organs that work in concert to defend you from pathogens like bacteria and viruses. The soldiers of this army are your immune cells, and the weapons they wield are antibodies. The factory that produces both these soldiers and their weapons runs on protein. When your protein intake is insufficient, the factory slows down production, fewer immune cells are created, antibody generation falters. Your body's defensive walls crumble, leaving you vulnerable to attack. This leads not only to more frequent illnesses, but also to prolonged recovery times and a state of chronic inflammation, which is a known driver of many age-related diseases. Sufficient protein intake keeps the factory running at full capacity. It builds strong immune cells and ensures a robust supply of antibodies, reinforcing your body's ability to identify and neutralize invaders. Your immune system is your front line of defense. If that line is weak, even a minor skirmish can turn into a devastating battle. I will never forget Mr. Samuel Jones. He was 82, and for him, winter was a season of dread. Every year, like clockwork, he would develop pneumonia. It was a brutal cycle. An initial cold would quickly descend into his chest, leading to a debilitating bout of pneumonia that required at least a month of hospitalization. He was frail, his immune system was shot, and he lived in fear of the next cough or sneeze. I urged him to overhaul his diet. Specifically, I prescribed two simple, daily additions: a hard-boiled egg and a small bowl of plain yogurt every single morning. He was just as doubtful as Mrs. Vance had been. Yogurt for pneumonia. Doctor, he chuckled weakly, but he was desperate. That winter, for the first time in nearly a decade, he remained healthy. A full year passed without a single hospital admission. The next time I saw him, his eyes were bright with a joy that was deeply moving. Thanks to you, doctor, he said, his voice strong, I had a warm winter, not a single cough. Those words were a profound gift to me. With a fortified immune system, he had reclaimed his life from the cycle of chronic illness. Practical application: actively incorporate simple, protein-rich foods that support immunity. A cup of yogurt, a hard-boiled egg, or tofu in your miso soup are all easy and effective options. Fermented soy products like miso and natto are particularly beneficial, as they also support gut health. which is intricately linked to immune function. If you have a lactose intolerance that causes bloating or diarrhea, look for lactose-free dairy products, or focus on non-dairy sources like tofu and other fermented bean foods. If you have a known food allergy, it is imperative to avoid that food and find a suitable alternative to ensure you are not missing out on this vital nutrient. Pillar 3. Protecting your cardiovascular health. When people think of heart health, they often think about avoiding fat and cholesterol. While that is important, they often overlook the protective role that certain types of protein play, particularly plant-based proteins. Think of your blood vessels as an intricate system of pipes running throughout your body. Over time, these pipes can become clogged with plaque, primarily from LDL, the bad cholesterol. This buildup, known as atherosclerosis, narrows the pipes, restricting blood flow and increasing blood pressure. This forces your heart to work much harder to pump blood, leading to conditions like hypertension, heart attacks, and strokes. Plant-based proteins, found in foods like beans, lentils, nuts, and soy, are a critical part of your plumbing maintenance crew. They actively help to clean these pipes. They have been shown to help lower levels of LDL cholesterol, effectively scrubbing the vessel walls and keeping them clear. This, in turn, protects the heart and brain from the devastating consequences of vascular disease. While animal proteins are also essential, some sources, particularly red and processed meats, can be high in saturated fat and cholesterol. Excessive consumption can contribute to the very plaque buildup you want to avoid. Therefore, the key is balance. Incorporating a healthy mix of plant-based and lean animal proteins is crucial for maintaining a healthy cardiovascular system. A clean, efficient vascular system is not just about heart health, it's about total body health. As every organ and tissue depends on a steady supply of oxygen-rich blood, Mrs. Clara Rodriguez, a delightful 79-year-old woman with a passion for cooking, had been on medication for high blood pressure for several years. She was frustrated. She hated being dependent on pills and dreamed of being able to reduce her dosage. We worked together on a new food plan. My primary recommendation was for her to start her day with a soy milk smoothie and to incorporate a block of tofu into her lunch, perhaps stir-fried with vegetables or crumbled into a salad. She was skeptical at first. Just beans. Doctor, how can beans fix my blood pressure? But she was a wonderful student. She embraced the change, experimenting with new recipes. A few months later, her blood pressure readings were consistently lower and more stable than they had been in years. After consulting with her cardiologist, she was able to safely reduce her medication dosage. She laughed during her next visit, telling me, "I can't live without my beans now." Doctor, she had proven to herself that a small, consistent dietary change could have a massive impact on her cardiovascular health. Practical application. Make a conscious effort to consume plant-based proteins regularly. This could be as simple as cooking with beans, black beans, chickpeas, adding a handful of nuts to your salad, or blending soy milk into a smoothie. Have a bowl of lentil soup. Snack on edamame. There are countless ways to incorporate these foods. A word of caution, for individuals with certain thyroid conditions, the isoflavones in soy might be a concern. If you have a thyroid disorder, it's essential to consult with your doctor or registered dietitian to determine the appropriate amount for you. Additionally, while nuts are incredibly healthy, they are also high in calories. So be mindful of portion sizes. Pillar 4. Maintaining healthy skin and hair. Our outward appearance, the health of our skin and the thickness of our hair, is often a direct reflection of our internal health. The two proteins that form the very structure of our skin and hair are collagen and keratin. Collagen is the protein that gives our skin its elasticity and firmness, its youthful bounce. Keratin is the fibrous protein that provides strength and resilience to our hair and nails. Your body is in a constant state of regenerating these proteins. However, this process requires a steady supply of amino acids from the protein you eat. When protein intake is inadequate, the production of collagen and keratin slows to a crawl. The skin loses its elasticity, becoming thin, dry, and prone to wrinkles. Hair becomes brittle, fine, and can break easily. In more severe cases, it can lead directly to significant hair loss or alopecia. The youthful vitality we associate with thick hair and supple skin is inextricably linked to adequate protein intake. Take a moment to look in the mirror. Do you notice that your skin seems duller than it used to? Has the volume of your hair decreased? This may not just be the inevitable march of time. It could be a sign that your body is not getting enough of the raw materials it needs to maintain these external structures. I once treated a patient named Ms. Helen Carter, a 74-year-old retired teacher who was under immense stress due to her thinning hair. She had always taken great pride in her appearance, and the significant hair loss she was experiencing was deeply affecting her self-confidence. She had started wearing hats to hide it and confessed that she sighed every time she looked in the mirror. She had tried countless expensive shampoos and topical treatments with no success. When I analyzed her diet, I found a familiar pattern: a severe lack of protein. I suggested she start incorporating two specific items into her daily routine: a portion of tofu and a bowl of steamed egg custard. "You think this will make my hair grow back?" she asked, her voice filled with doubt. 2 months later, she came into my office, beaming. She wasn't wearing a hat. "Doctor," she said excitedly, "when I wash my hair now, much less of it falls out." And my stylist said she can see new growth. The relief in her face was palpable. By simply providing her body with the building blocks it needed, she had begun to reverse the process. As her hair became fuller and her skin regained some of its glow, friends began to comment that she looked years younger. That, she said, was a wonderful bonus. Practical application. Foods like egg custard, which contains protein from both eggs and milk, are excellent choices. Tofu in miso soup or soy milk are also fantastic for skin and hair health. Some people seek out collagen-rich foods like pork knuckles or chicken feet, but the more important factor is ensuring you consume enough total protein from varied sources to allow your body to synthesize its own collagen. A quality protein shake can also be a convenient way to boost your intake. It's important to note that if you experience sudden, patchy, or extreme hair loss, it may be a sign of a condition other than simple protein deficiency. In such cases, it is crucial to seek a diagnosis from a dermatologist. Pilar cinque, preserving strong bones, osteoporosis prevention. When we think about bone health, the first nutrient that comes to mind is almost always calcium. But calcium is only half of the story. Think of building a concrete wall. Calcium is the cement, but cement alone is brittle. It needs a steel rebar framework to give it tensile strength in your bones. Protein is that rebar. Protein forms the flexible, organic matrix of your bones. Calcium and other minerals then bind to this protein matrix, giving the bone its hardness and density. Without enough protein, that underlying framework is weak. No matter how much calcium you consume, it has nothing to bind to effectively. Your bones become porous and brittle, a condition known as osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a silent disease that dramatically increases the risk of fractures from minor falls or even simple movements. It is a major threat to the health and independence of older adults. Your bones are not just a scaffold for your body. They enable movement, protect your vital organs, and are the manufacturing center for your blood cells. Strong bones are an absolute prerequisite for an active and vibrant old age. Mr. George Miller was 80 years old when he was diagnosed with osteoporosis. The news hit him hard. He had seen a friend suffer a debilitating hip fracture, and he was terrified of the same fate. His immediate problem was that he avoided drinking milk, a primary source of calcium, because it always upset his stomach. He felt he was in a no-win situation, forced to choose between digestive discomfort and the health of his bones. I reassured him that we could build his bone health through other avenues. We designed a plan centered on low-fat, lactose-free milk and yogurt. But we also made a special point to boost his protein intake with tofu. His new breakfast routine became a slice of tofu with a glass of lactose-free milk. For months, he stuck with it diligently. At his follow-up bone density scan, his numbers had stabilized. The decline had been halted. He was incredibly relieved. I was so worried about the milk. Doctor, he told me, I had no idea that protein was just as important for my bones. With his fear of fractures diminished, he felt confident enough to be more active, to go for walks, and to enjoy his life without a constant cloud of anxiety. Practical application: dairy products like milk, yogurt, and cheese are excellent because they provide both protein and calcium. If you are lactose intolerant, choose lactose-free versions or explore other calcium-rich foods like sardines, spinach, and broccoli, ensuring you pair them with high-protein foods. A crucial note of caution: for individuals with pre-existing kidney disease, a sudden, very high increase in protein intake can put a strain on the kidneys. If you have any known kidney issues, you must consult with your physician or nephrologist to determine a safe and appropriate level of protein intake for your specific condition. The 3 habits for healthy protein intake. Understanding the why is the first step. Now, let's focus on the how. Integrating adequate protein into your life doesn't have to be complicated. It comes down to cultivating 3 simple, powerful habits. Habit 1, use supplements wisely when diet falls short. Let's be realistic. Getting all the protein we need from food alone every single day can be challenging. This is especially true if you're dealing with a poor appetite, dental issues that make chewing difficult, or digestive problems. In these situations, protein supplements can be an incredibly useful tool. Think of a supplement not as a meal replacement, but as a bridge. It fills the gap between the protein you are able to eat and the protein your body actually needs. A high-quality protein powder or a protein bar can provide a quick, efficient, and easily digestible dose of protein, reducing the burden of having to prepare and eat a large meal while still delivering the essential nutrients. The market is filled with options, so it's important to choose one that's right for you. Whey and casein are milk-based proteins that are highly effective for those with lactose intolerance or who prefer a plant-based diet. Soy, pea, or hemp protein powders are excellent alternatives. The most important thing is to read the label. Look for products with minimal added sugars and artificial ingredients. And always remember, supplements are meant to supplement a healthy diet, not replace the immense benefits of whole foods. Habit 2, divide and conquer. Eat in small portions. Your body is not a storage tank for protein. You can't drink a giant protein shake in the morning and expect it to last you all day. The body has a limit to how much protein it can effectively absorb and use in a single sitting. Research suggests this amount is around 20 to 30 grams at a time. If you consume a huge amount of protein in one meal, any excess beyond what your body can immediately use for repair and synthesis is often converted to energy or stored as fat. The most effective strategy is to distribute your protein intake evenly throughout the day. Think of it like stoking a campfire. To keep the fire burning steadily, you add small logs every few hours. If you throw one giant log on, you might smother the flames, or it might burn up too quickly. By providing your body with a moderate amount of protein at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you keep the process of muscle protein synthesis switched on all day long. This is a far more efficient approach than consuming the bulk of your protein in one massive evening meal. This strategy also has the added benefit of helping to stabilize blood sugar levels. A great way to do this is to incorporate protein into your snacks. A handful of nuts, a cup of Greek yogurt, or a small piece of cheese between meals can make a huge difference. Habit 3, create a balance between animal and plant proteins. Not all proteins are created equal. They each bring a unique set of benefits to the table. Animal proteins found in eggs, fish, dairy, and lean meats are considered complete proteins. This means they contain all 9 of the essential amino acids that our bodies cannot produce on their own. They are high-quality, efficient sources for building and repairing tissue. Plant proteins from sources like beans, lentils, tofu, and nuts are sometimes incomplete, meaning they might be low in one or more of the essential amino acids. However, they come packaged with other incredibly beneficial compounds that animal proteins lack, such as fiber, vitamins, minerals, and powerful antioxidants. They are also free of cholesterol and generally lower in saturated fat, making them champions for cardiovascular health. The optimal approach is not to choose one over the other, but to embrace both, create a synergy on your plate. For example, add some beans to your chicken salad at lunch, enjoy a bowl of miso soup made from soy alongside your grilled fish for dinner. This balanced approach ensures you get the full spectrum of essential amino acids, while also reaping the benefits of fiber and micronutrients from plants. It provides your body with a comprehensive toolkit for health. Perhaps you've been avoiding a food like natto fermented soybeans because of its strong smell. I encourage you to remember that this aroma is a byproduct of the fermentation process that creates its incredible health benefits. Give it another try. Finding this nutritional balance is the wisest way to protect your long-term health. A beginning. It's never too late to start. My dear friends, the message I want to leave you with is one of profound hope. Protein is not a complicated drug or an invasive procedure. It is the most fundamental element of your diet. As an 85-year-old physician still in practice, I have learned this simple truth through observing thousands of patients. Please, do not ignore the small signals your body is sending you. Our bodies are honest. They give back in direct proportion to what we put in. They will reward you with health and vitality if you provide them with the right fuel. Do not resign yourself to the idea that weakness is an unavoidable part of getting old. In fact, the older we get, the more critical protein becomes. Right now, this very moment, your body might be crying out for it. To ignore that call is to allow your vitality to slowly seep away. To dismiss it as just old age is to miss an opportunity to fundamentally change the trajectory of your health. Starting today, make a simple promise to yourself. Add one more protein-rich food to your daily plate. That single, small change can revolutionize your future health. Today, we have learned that protein is the key that unlocks the 5 critical defenses of your body. It prevents muscle loss, allowing for vibrant movement and preserving your independence by reducing the risk of falls and fractures. It fortifies your immune system, protecting you from the constant threat of infectious diseases and reducing the time you spend sick. It guards your cardiovascular health, lowering blood pressure and cholesterol, and reducing your risk of heart attack and stroke. A clean vascular system is the foundation of total health. It restores the vitality of your skin and hair, boosting your external confidence and helping you maintain a youthful appearance. You can replace the size in front of the mirror with smiles. Finally, it builds strong bones, preventing osteoporosis and freeing you from the pain and fear associated with fractures. An entire arsenal of health benefits, and its source is right there on your dinner table. This is the incredible truth that hospitals and pharmaceutical companies may not emphasize. Your body has an innate, powerful ability to heal and strengthen itself. You just haven't been giving it the right fuel. Remember the 3 simple habits. Supplement with a quality product when your diet is lacking. Eat smaller amounts of protein spread throughout the day, and balance animal and plant sources. Even with these simple habits, your body will begin to change in remarkable ways. Your health will not protect itself. I sincerely hope that the wisdom I have shared today brings about a true transformation in your life. The small effort you begin today will return to you as an unimaginably large reward in the years to come. I wish for your later years to be filled not with sickness and pain, but with energy, joy, and purpose. Remember, a healthy old age is not a distant dream. It is a choice you make with every meal. The protein on your plate today can and will change your future. I truly hope that you have recognized its importance and that you will begin to put this knowledge into practice. Starting now, as you finish reading this, what is the first protein-rich food that comes to your mind? Don't put it off. Your health depends on the choice you make in this very moment. Your body is the only true asset you will ever own. You must care for it until the very end. Imagine how much richer your life will be when you make these small, powerful changes. I hope the knowledge from this message helps your life become healthier, more vibrant, and full of energy. Take that first step today for your healthy future. If you found a particular tip helpful, or if you have a protein-rich food you plan to try, please share it in the comments. Your small commitment can become a source of powerful motivation for someone else. In my next discussion, I will delve deeper into 3 morning habits that specifically protect your muscles. We'll explore the importance of breakfast and some simple yet powerful routines to start your day strong. You won't want to miss it. Now, I ask you, which protein will you choose today? If you start now, what will your life look like 1 year from today? I am here, cheering for your healthy, energetic future.